Welcome back to Parking Lot Takes. That's Brandon and I'm Christian.
May the 4th might be over, but Revenge of the 5th just started.
Yeah!
Yeah!
It's May the 4th?
It's May the 4th! Hey, and now...
It's May the 4th.
May the 4th, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was wearing my helmet.
Yes, it protected you.
It did.
From my force push.
Yeah, it's nice.
And my cool lightsaber.
We'd be nice like that.
Lightsaber stays on this entire episode.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
kidding.
cool. Cool
Lightsaber.
ambiance. You probably put it in the corner there.
No, it'll go through the wall if I lean it against it, so I
yeah.
can't. Oh man, I guess I'll just have to put away my real lightsaber.
It's okay. Just twist it. Stop. Let me pull it. Stop.
Harder. It's all right. Let me put this back on my belt here.
All right.
Yeah, right. I don't know if you can tell, but
We'll pop two lightsabers.
yeah, that's a good thought. You're the chosen one. You are my brother. May the 4th, best time of the year, man.
Yep.
And now we have a reason to talk about Star Wars
I
in
know.
length, which is freaking awesome.
Yep.
I've always been excited watching like podcasters each year because I know they're going to be talking about Star Wars, and I'm like, this is exciting.
Nice.
Now we're one of them. I mean, well-known,
We're
very
valid.
popular
We're very valid.
podcaster in multiple spaces.
We're not just whimsy dreaming it, like, you know. We've proven we're proof of concept.
Yeah, it's there.
We get 1 million views on TikTok and Instagram.
And Instagram independently.
Yep.
Probably getting close to 2 on Instagram, which
Yeah.
is crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's no biggie. I mean,
Yeah.
your opinion's invalid unless.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm not saying that.
I feel like I'm seeing stuff. I hit my head pretty hard. All right, so let's lay out the episode a little bit.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about the first 6 episodes of Andor.
Yep.
And then we're going to talk about, we watched the first arc with Ventress and Tales of the Underworld. And then we
Underworld.
have some fun Q and take segment,
Yeah.
Star Wars edition, so that we're going to be doing. So
Heck yeah, because
Yeah.
we both love Star Wars.
we do both.
So this is fun.
love in Star Wars.
This is gonna be fun.
A New Hope is up here.
Heck yeah.
Should I take that down?
Should I get Empire? I probably should get Empire.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe I'll get Empire and I'll put it up on my side. That way I can show some Star Wars love. Because Empire would be, I think Empire to me is like the best of the original trilogy, but I think A New Hope is my favorite. The front and center. There we go. You just hold it the whole episode is what you should do.
Yeah.
Oh, this is falling apart quickly.
No. The Last Ronin.
That's not Star Wars. A New Hope.
We're chilling.
We got it.
We're big chilling.
Forget Inception. Pfft. Don't even care.
Yeah. Should Nolan do Star Wars? Should Nolan do a Star Wars movie?
No.
No, I don't think so.
And you know what? I think because of how he portrayed Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy, I don't want him to do Star Wars.
Really?
Because, and we've been talking about this a lot recently, and to be honest with you, it's kind of bringing me down on the Dark Knight. I definitely think Christopher Nolan's portrayal of Batman is definitely not the greatest portrayal of Batman as a character. I think the Batman does the comic book version a little bit better, and so I think if he were to take this, he would just make it a Nolan action film with the Star Wars skin.
Sure.
And that's kind of what The Dark Knight is.
Yeah.
I still love those movies.
Do you
Don't get me
think
wrong.
it would be like a political espionage spy thriller skin to Star Wars?
You sick.
Is that different? I like Andor.
Yes, I just knew where you're going with that.
I
think
like
you would,
the new
yeah.
season a lot.
Yeah,
But is that, I mean,
that is what he would do.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Do we feel like that's kind of the same, what they're doing?
Yeah, I think in a way.
Yeah.
And we can talk a little bit more about that, but because I was thinking about it watching this week the most recent 3 episodes.
Sure.
And I was thinking a little bit about that, I will say. Like, I'm trying to think how to articulate it. Because, like, I remember you saying season 1 you felt like was kind of boring.
I felt like the heist was very cool.
Yeah.
And then everything with Luthen and Mon Mothma, I think, is awesome.
Yeah.
Incredible. Lives up to the hype of the show. Outside of, like, Cassian's arc, I don't know why it takes him 3 45-minute episodes to get off his planet.
Yeah.
And then it's the heist, which I love. I love all the heist stuff. And then it's vacation on beach, sent to jail. And that stuff's better than the first 3 episodes. So I feel like the first 3 episodes meander a little bit. And so I think it's kind of boring. Gotcha. But I think all of the Mon Mothma political espionage stuff is very, very cool. Yeah. So I like that a lot. But yeah, I like the new season much more, personally.
What do you think about the new season is better than the first season?
I think things are actually happening. Like, I think...
You think, like, the pacing is
I think the pacing's better. It's still in those 3 episodic little arc things, but I think,
slow,
like...
slow to me.
It is still slow. The first 3 meander in this, kind of like the first 3 in the first season, except it's more interesting because he's stolen an Imperial ship.
Yeah.
And he's being detained by infighting rebels. Like, I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, does this need to be 3 episodes long? But I really like what they did with the 3rd episode, or the next 3.
Yes.
So 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
I like a lot of that. Golly, I got torn apart on TikTok for saying that the rebellion's morally gray in Andor.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
I actually got swayed. Someone did sway me on that point. And it was someone, I should really have looked at their username. I'll tag, if I clip this out, I will tag them in it and put their thing. But they made this point saying that you have 3 ideologies going into the rebellion. You have Mon Mothma, you have Luthen, and then you have Cassian. So you have these 3 opposing ideologies. They're all a little bit different. And Mon Mothma's like the ideology that we see in New Hope. And so we want to see it progress to that. And so we're watching Rogue One. That's very true. Cassian starts the movie, capping people and assassinating some people. And then he kind of has a character arc out of that sort of behavior. Yeah. So that, I think that's a good point. I really like that. But all the people that said, read a history book about the rebellion, it's Star Wars.
What?
It's Star Wars. Yeah. It doesn't have, if they wanted to write it so all the rebellion was virtuous, they could have. Like, it doesn't have to be this. Absolutely. You're injecting realism into a space fantasy at the end of the day, and I like that to be the explanation. Look, here's the reality. Tony Gilroy is the person that introduced that to Star Wars. Yeah. It's never been that way until Tony Gilroy wrote it. And then people are trying to be like, well, in episode 1 of Andor, they said, I'm like, that's like, what are you trying to say? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yes. Andor has changed the how I look at it. Yeah. But if they're really lean into switching, being like the rebellion starting kind of dirty guerrilla tactics and then becomes this kind of beacon of hope for people. I actually do like that. I think that's cool. But yeah, I don't know where we got it in our heads that realism means good. Because it's realistic, that means it's better. I don't understand that. Yeah. Because that means that, okay, so we should just get rid of flying in space. Like that would make Star Wars so much better, wouldn't it, if the ships flew like they do in actual space? Yeah. Because it's more realistic.
Well, there's like I think there's 2 sides to that coin for realism. It's realism in like a practical real world sense as far as do things operate that way? And then there's the realism kind of what Andor's doing as far as we're bringing in like real world, how do I describe it? Like real world good and bad that we see in our world into this universe. Yeah. And so it's like, if you want to talk about realism as far as like, then they shouldn't fly, or is it the idea of we're bringing in these terrible things that happen in our world into this narrative to make it seem more relatable, I guess.
Sure.
And I think in some instances,
I
like that. I think it can make it more relatable for an audience. And other ways, I think it doesn't really need to be in this world because we are entering into it as escapism, not I want to relive or re-experience what I already know exists like traumatically in my world.
Yeah.
So I think if it's done right, it's good. And in other ways, it's a little maybe unnecessary.
You're knocking on this door, so we should just open it.
Yeah,
we should talk about the scene in episode 3.
A lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah.
So here's what I will say. Watching the actual scene, like, it's uncomfortable. Clearly. And that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
In the overall, I think, style of the show, I'm trying to think how to say this carefully. I don't think it's necessary. I think the tone carries it enough.
Sure.
I don't think we have to have that. I think there's enough in Star Wars where things really bad happen and we don't see them happen to where I don't think it's necessary to put it in the show.
Sure.
The show clearly, tonally, is serious, more grounded, more realistic, and relatable to what our real world goes through. I don't think it was necessary to go as far as it did, personally.
Yeah. So I had heard about the scene before watching it.
I did too.
And obviously, I didn't know who it happened to, and I didn't know the context. So I just knew it was like, we have an SA scene in Star Wars. So watching it, they introduced in episode 1 that weird dynamic between that officer and Bix.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so this is it. But I really thought the SA scene was gonna be with Mon Mothma and Tay.
Yeah.
Her
like pressuring her?
Yes. So I thought that would have been. So when I was watching it, I was.
If you want my support.
Is it Tark or is it Tay? Am I right?
That's a great question. I can't remember his. I know exactly what you're talking about. It might be Tark. But like using it as like leverage almost is what you're saying.
Yeah.
She's trying to get support and things like that.
Yeah, Tay.
Okay.
So when he was kind of admitting, because obviously they have some sort of romantic tension in the first season, and her husband even hints at it.
Yes.
Like in the Andor season 2, and he's like, "Is that your boyfriend? Whatever." So I really thought they were setting it up for when he starts talking to Mon Mothma, and he's like, "My wife has left me. My finances are in the toilet. Like my life is ruined, and I want compensation." I thought that was
where they were
sexual
going with
pressure that he was putting on her, and I kind of believed that all the way through when she goes to Luthen and he's like, "What's his number?" And she's like, "I'll get a number," and he's like, "You know the number."
Yeah. And
I thought that's what they were going for there. Right. And I thought that's what and I was like, that's interesting. And that affirms that stronger will build upon Mon Mothma's character going through the rest of the franchise.
Yeah.
So going into New Hope, you have this this extra context and projects like Rogue One. Yeah. You know what Mon Mothma has done for the rebellion. Now I don't want her to go through with it. Obviously, I think it should end the way it did.
Yeah.
Which is Luthen kill him for her, so she doesn't have to, pressure her into that. And that's what I thought they were going for. So I actually liked that, and I feel like that was in tune with Star Wars in that way. Because if you watch certain episodes of Clone Wars, there's a specific arc with Clovis and Padme and Anakin where Clovis kind of pushes himself on Padme, and Anakin sees it and becomes enraged. So that to me doesn't feel super disconnected from Star Wars as much as maybe what actually happened.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of the easiest way you could do it.
Yeah.
Or the most simplest way. It's still so I really thought it was that, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's just really straight up.
Yeah.
Like we're just which is like it does.
Do you think now that we have seen, because a lot of the discourse was around, we just had the first 3 episodes. Now we have 3 more. Do you feel like for where Bix's character went, that was, and I use the word necessarily carefully, but like just the event of it. Do you think it was necessary for where her character is at now?
Yeah, I like what it does to her character a lot.
I do too.
I like the character development that's coming from that a ton. So I do, looking to see where she's going. I think I understand. It doesn't feel like it's just thrown in there. It feels used, and it feels used
absolutely
in an impactful way.
Yes, and I think a lot of people might have been concerned that it was thrown in there just in the context of the first 3 to make Star Wars feel gritty and real.
Right.
But I'm glad that these episodes made it feel, like you said, impactful. Like they're using it for a purpose for Bix's character. And I do like what she's kind of going through right now. You know what I mean? As a character standpoint. Obviously, I don't want her to go through it. But for what they're doing with the dynamic between her and Cassian and her relationship with Luthen. And it's just very interesting.
Yeah.
I like that dynamic. And I kind of want to see where that goes for those characters. So I am glad they used it in a way that feels weighty.
Yeah.
Not just thrown in there to be realistic.
Sure.
And give you some jolt, you know?
Yeah. I like, my thought going forward was, I wish this had been something maybe a more prominent character had dealt with. Because Bix, we don't see her in anything else.
Yeah.
So you can either assume she's probably going to die.
Oh, yeah, because she's not in Rogue One, and
right.
Cassian doesn't even...
So maybe she doesn't, but Cassian kind of moves on to Jyn, so something happens. But,
I never thought about that. That sucks.
I know.
Because I really like
her a lot, too.
A lot.
Yeah. People want her for Wonder Woman in the DCU.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that could work.
Yeah.
In this... show specifically, like she can play a very like stoic, very strong, like she can bring a strong presence. Yeah, I like that. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah,
she's young enough to do it too for a while, I would think. Yeah.
Now, specifically on that scene though, I do absolutely understand all the people who don't like it.
Absolutely.
And I think calling them out is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because they're having the reaction you're supposed to have to an event like that.
Yeah.
They're feeling disgusted and they're feeling sick to their stomach. That's the reaction you're supposed to have to seeing something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to make fun of people for just not liking it, they had the reaction they're supposed to have. They're just not they're just like, I just don't want to see that stuff ever again.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
That's fair. How do you argue against that?
I think the people who got on social media and made clips making fun of people who didn't like that scene are so much more toxic than the people who didn't like it. That's insane to me. Your argument is, I loved it. I think it belongs.
Yeah.
Your argument is, I like that stuff.
And that's
like
just
that
not...
just doesn't. You just don't have. You just have to accept that is gonna mess with people more than it is gonna mess with you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because like I want to talk about like the demonic stuff.
Yeah.
Like we don't like demonic things.
No.
Right. But that doesn't.
Clearly, yeah.
But that doesn't make it bad or us. I don't think our opinion's invalid.
Yeah.
We just choose not to watch that stuff. We don't let that stuff in.
Yeah.
And I think that can go for the same thing going forward. And there's people who can watch that stuff and be totally unaffected and it not affect them as much as it affects us. And I think that's totally fine. But to make fun of someone, to call people out, to basically,
you're putting them down essentially.
Putting them down for having a visceral, uncomfortable, sickening reaction to seeing something
that's awful,
sick and awful and inhumane.
Yeah.
The most inhumane thing that could ever happen to a person. You're making fun of somebody because they were so sickened by it they don't want to see it ever again.
Yeah.
I just think you are just as toxic as anybody else.
Yeah, and again, like in the context of all those videos are getting made and like people are being made fun of without these 3 episodes that we just watched.
Yeah.
Like in that time between.
Right.
And I'm thinking, if you had an argument that said, well, I understand why it's there, it serves the character, that's better. We didn't even know that. We had no clue where they were going with it. And it was just that, it did feel like, I like that scene. I think it should have been in Star Wars. And it's like, that
I think it belongs in Star Wars.
I just don't...
I don't know that it belongs in anything, man.
Yeah, and I don't think, like, obviously our Star Wars track record is very much not that. So there's bad things that happen in Star Wars, obviously.
It's always been implied. It's the first time you're seeing it.
Yes.
So
I just don't know.
Like Leia and Jabba's is pretty, that's
why I said, like, earlier, like, there's a lot of things that are shown and cut away or implied, but it's never shown to this length.
Yeah.
So I could absolutely understand why somebody would feel like that's very, very uncomfortable. And I don't want to engage with Star Wars in that level.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's valid.
But I don't. I also don't think the scene really works without showing it. I don't think you could make it. If you wanted to imply it, you would do the Mon Mothma thing I'm talking about. But you could not cut away from any of that. You have to show it all. If you're not going to change anything.
That's so tricky.
You can't. Sure there's no way to cut away or imply that what's happened unless you're just gonna like it would be worse if they cut away personally, because if he kind of started attacking, they cut away and he showed up dead, and you wouldn't know how far it went.
I think it could work.
I think it could.
I think it would make her
work,
line that she says to Cassian.
It would make people more upset because you don't know the extent of it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you don't know how far it went.
But
knowing how far I went.
But I think we would trust Bix if she said that to Cassian. The line that she says.
She says it to the guard guy, the other Imperial officer.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I think that line would hit more if it cut away, because it would be implied. You're thinking, I think I know what just happened, and then she says it, and you're like, oh shoot.
See, I don't. But what does that mean? How far did that actually go? I think it's helpful to see it.
But I don't know if we needed to see it to know how far it went. I think as a character, I would trust Bix if she said that. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't know how to get in without getting into terms, but there's a...
I know, I'm trying not to...
Technically, laying his hands on her is the act.
I know what you're saying. So yeah.
They could have said, he tried, but we don't know...
Yes. The extent of how far it went is to the severity. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So I think it is helpful to have this whole scene because you're going to tackle it.
Yeah,
I think people, this is my overarching. We think the scene not maybe necessary, but it's fine. It works in the context of the show. It's not just thrown in there, and it's used well, and it develops a character well.
Yes,
and so it gets her to point A to point B for this year gap that we see. So. Fine.
Yeah.
But here's my other take. I think for the people who don't like Andor, I really believe those same people created the show. Because Star Wars is the franchise of delayed gratification, man. Yeah. It is the prequels, hated, then they're loved. Clone Wars, it's hated, then it's loved. Rebels, it's hated, then it's loved. Mandalorian was loved right off the bat, sure. But we complain and critique over and over again. And we push Disney into a corner, and they're like, well, let's make a show the only way we know how. Yeah. Which is to look at HBO Max and be like, okay, let's make an HBO Max Star Wars show. And that's what this is. And I think those people end up just they created the show.
Yeah.
Because they did things with the whimsy and they tried to do that stuff. No one watched it. Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
Skeleton Crew is fun. It is the thematic heart of Star Wars is Skeleton Crew. You might not I don't like Acolyte, but the thematic heart is present in Acolyte for Star Wars, right? They did that stuff, and so now they're adjusting. They might be over what's it called? Overcompensating with Andor, but I think, you very much asked for it.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars fans very much asked for a realistic version of, maybe inadvertently.
Yeah.
But now we're complaining about that it's just skinned HBO Max show. And I think it might be. I think there's an argument for that. I like it though. I think it's good.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why people either love it or hate it.
Yeah.
Because if you like that stuff, I love it. I think it's fantastic. But I also really love that HBO Max style show that's very gritty, very real, very good writing.
Yeah.
So, because I had a moment in one of the last episodes that I watched where there's nothing important in this scene. It just stuck out to me. But Luthen is picking up Cassian from Gorman. And they're talking about how it doesn't go well, and he just goes on to he goes into the cockpit, and he's just flipping switches, and they just casually go to light speed, and they're out of there. And that conversation is kind of happening through all of it. And the thing that I thought about it was, yeah, this show absolutely does not have the spectacle and the whimsy that Star Wars has. But personally, and I think this is maybe just my preference, like, I think it is really cool to see a kind of slower, grounded Star Wars where you're kind of just sitting in these moments, sitting in these characters. You're not, like in a movie, you're not just whipping from scene to scene to scene to scene. Like in that moment, like, it's everything Star Wars. He's flipping to light speed, but it's not like this shot of them in the cockpit. He's just casually talking.
Yeah.
And you just see in the background, I'm like, that's interesting because it adds a level of immersion for you as a audience to kind of actually feel like you're just sitting in a day-to-day life in Star Wars. And I thought that was kind of cool. And I think that it clicked for me as, oh, maybe that's just why I really like Andor, because it feels like I'm living a day-to-day in Star Wars, not just moving from scene to scene in this spectacle overarching story, which I love. It just felt very immersive. And I was like, oh, I think that's why I really like Andor a lot. Yeah, is that immersion?
Sure. No, I think that's a cool little detail. That day to day, everything except to what's his name eating cereal with his mom.
Oh, dude,
that's so annoying. Come on with
come on,
can
dude.
you just not go buy Reese's Pieces, please, or Reese's
you might
Puffs?
As well, yeah.
And put them in a cereal bowl, please. I mean.
That's funny. Yeah, that stuff is interesting.
Here's
what I will say. I like what they're doing with this character.
Yeah, what's his name?
Sylar. Sylar. Yeah, it's Sylar, right? It's not Silas, it's Sylar, I think.
Dedra.
That's the blonde.
Yeah, and...
Sylar, right?
Cyril.
Yeah, I was way off. Cyril. In the first season, I remember being like, what are we doing with this guy? This is interesting.
I really like him in the second season.
I do really like him in the second season.
I did not like him at all in the first season. Yeah. I was so annoyed.
He was probably the one thing of season one that overall I thought was like, I just don't care.
No, I don't care at all.
If you omitted this, I think it would not change the show.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's necessary in season one, and what he's doing in season two is really cool. I think kind of playing that double agent, I think, is really neat.
I really liked that first episode with him, and he it shocked me people liked him as much as they did, because I thought they tried to make him so unlikable, because
I thought that was the point.
Literally asked for everything that happened to him, and for him to be like, "What would it, I'm like, no, you were told by a commanding officer that we need to cover this up because they're people, these are guards who are on shift in a brothel we're not supposed to know about, drinking this whatever that we're not supposed to have. Yeah. Like, we can't, just do. And then he pursues it, and he's like, my life sucks. Like, I just tried to do the right thing. Shut up. Yeah. I wanted to say another thing for people who might not like Andor, or think that, I've heard of, I was one of them. I thought there was no thematic heart in the first season, but there are things I really, really like, but I really like the second season. But the people who are saying it's too dark, it's too gritty, and then the SA stuff, Rick McCollman, who was a producer on Star Wars, there was a plan to do a 60-episode series of Underworld Coruscant after the prequels with George Lucas. And they basically described the show as being dark, gritty, and sexy.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be you were probably going to get something like Andor if, but you would like it because it's George Lucas. So
Andor is essentially that.
Right. So
at some point we were going to get something.
Minus the sexy.
Yeah. True. Yeah, true.
Well, the Dedra and Cyril stuff.
That does get a little spicy at times.
Does get a little spicy. Dude, Dedra's 20? Did you pick up on that?
No.
Yeah, Dedra is no older than 20 years old.
What?
Yeah, because she
was like 40.
I know, because she's talking to Cyril's mom, and she talks about her childhood, and she's like, "Yeah, my parents were criminals. I grew up in an Empire orphanage, whatever, when I was 3 years old." For context, the existence of the Empire to the beginning of New Hope is 19 years. And this is definitely before A New Hope.
Yeah.
So she's like 20 years old. How did that's an oversight. That's terrible.
That really is.
That sucks.
Because I thought she was meant to be like a decorated, like in your 30s, 40s officer. That's wild.
I don't think she's actually 20. I just think they
I know she's not.
Overlooked that hard.
Yeah.
Maybe someone's be like, you don't know how people age in the show. You don't know what planet she's from. You're right. I don't.
So they age faster in Star Wars?
Then I need some explanation than just be like, I was 3 years old and the Empire's no older than 19 years.
That's wild.
Of A New Hope.
That's wild. I almost feel like, are you sure it's that long?
Yeah. How old's Luke?
Yeah, that's right.
Luke's a teenager. Mm-hmm. She's older than Luke in New Hope. And Luke's not older than 23.
Yeah, that's true.
Luke is 19 in New Hope.
Yeah. That's wild. Yeah, they really grossly misstepped that one.
Or in his 20s.
Yeah. That's funny.
That's bad.
That is kind of bad, yeah.
Tony Gilroy, what's going on?
Bro, have you read Star Wars? Come on, man. That's funny.
Come on, brother. I feel like they wanted some dumb reason for her to like the Empire. Yeah. Or like have this disdain. I'm like, just make her some fascist family situation going on. This like butt-kissing imperial family that she's a part of, like equally as interesting.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't need to feel bad for her.
No, I didn't.
She's already really cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very cool.
I don't need a sob story for her.
No. I did think the stuff with her and what is it? What is it? Sylar? Not Sylar. Cyril. Was really random and out of place. Now it makes sense, but I did think that it does get a little spicy sometimes.
Turn off the lights.
He's like, what? Turn off the lights.
I know.
We only have an hour.
I know.
An hour? Dang.
Cyril?
Good for him.
What's he doing them spiders, bro?
Oh, I hate that stuff. Ugh. Yeah, why do we have to make this season all about spiders? Or wait, what are they called? Web weavers or whatever? I know they say spiders, but web weavers. I'm really liking the season, though.
Yeah.
I think, what did you think about the last episode we got with the heisting the guns?
Oh my gosh. What's her? I should learn some names, dude.
I know. Typically, I find I know names after a couple watches. I need to just like be better prepared, I think.
Yeah, Vel,
yeah.
When her love interest gets killed and she looks at that little pathetic douche canoe.
Yeah.
And she's like,
just
don't you cry. Like I love that wasn't a it's okay conversation.
She's like, fed him trauma.
You killed a warrior in the way, like, and
you're gonna see her
a warrior you will never ever amount to be.
Yes.
The thing you pretend to be, you will never come an ounce close to what she was.
Yes.
Like, I love that she gave it to that guy, like, so intensely. I love everything she says. You will spend the rest of your life trying to make up for this mistake, but you never will. That's how much of an absolute douche.
Don't cry.
Dude,
you can't cry.
She is
Stop
awesome.
Crying.
I loved her in that moment. That was awesome.
Wild.
Dude, that was so good.
I was like, this man's going to go through therapy and hear those words for the rest of his life.
Don't you cry.
Are you crying?
Are you crying?
Oh, yeah, I thought that was crazy. You're going to see her face for the rest of your life. Oh my gosh.
That was sick. And then Bix going and killing the torture guy was... That all seemed sick.
Oh, it's so satisfying.
That was really cool.
Because he like doesn't know, and then in the moment he does. Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
What do you think of the Bail Organa recast?
That's not Bail. That's his dad.
What?
That's not Bail. I'm
almost sure?
I'm not. I won't say I'm 100% sure, but I'm almost positive that's not Bail Organa. Because I remember for sure him saying a different name. I might be wrong. I thought it was like his dad or something.
Bail Organa. Yes, he is. They recasted him.
Oh, wow. I really like that actor, so I guess I'm fine with the actor. But why did we need to? Because he's been around doing stuff as Bail.
Scheduling conflict. Unless this guy is in the last or the next 6 episodes, they should have cut that out.
Oh, yeah. That would not be necessary.
People are freaking out about it, and I have to think he has to play a big role in the next 6 episodes. So I'm not going to get upset about it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth getting upset about.
If he doesn't, though, it's not. No reason.
Yeah. If that is his only scene in this show, that's so dumb. And they absolutely, because it means nothing.
Yeah.
It means nothing.
Yeah. I do really like that actor, so I'm sure he can play the role fine. I don't think Bale would be hard to play as far as just from he's not like that complex, so I think he'll do a good job. It's fine. It doesn't matter to me. I want to see the original Bale, though. If I had my preference, it would absolutely be that actor over him. I don't know. Maybe it make me feel weird once I really see him. For some reason, when I watched in that scene specifically, for some reason I thought it was like his dad or something. Maybe that was my brain just saying they couldn't just recast him. We'll see. I don't know then.
Big's doing drugs.
Yeah. She's all drugged up.
Yeah.
Helps her sleep at night.
I liked her and Luthen's combo a lot.
I did like that a lot. I am curious how they're going to use that. Because she, I did like the dynamic of her saying, you need me healthy. Yeah. And this is how she thinks she gets healthy. And I'm like, that's going to play a very interesting dynamic in the future.
Yeah.
And his line about, they'll come back harder once you stop.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm like, oh, that's
dude, the whole party. Getting the recording.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The mic.
I was on the edge of my seat.
That was awesome.
With Director Krennic there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was sweet.
Dude, is it Bonnie or Bonnie or Lonnie? Lonnie. I think that's the redhead guy.
Keep talking.
All of his stuff, I was getting annoyed with him. I was like, she's clearly right in front of you, telling you, we're going to get caught if you don't do this. And he's like, I'm going to leave. And she's like, you're going to do what I say. I thought all that stuff was very interesting, though. When she's turning it and you see her hands bleeding, I'm like, dang, this is intense. But I liked it. I thought all that stuff was really good. I loved the dialogue between Mon Mothma and Director Krennic. I thought all that stuff was really interesting.
Yeah.
I love them just back and forth, just the battling ideologies. I think that's really interesting because Mon Mothma is so cleverly saying certain things without just saying the obvious, and Krennic is essentially doing the exact same thing. They're dancing around what they just actually want to say because they're politicians and all of this stuff, and I'm like, that's really cool. I think that's interesting. What's his name? I think it's Lonnie.
Dude, I can't find him.
I'm pretty sure it's Lonnie.
Yeah, you're right, Lonnie. Yep.
But I think all that stuff is interesting. I love that they're playing into the dialogue of this game because they're politicians. I think that's really cool. It just makes the scenes more interesting to me.
There's a line in the first 3 episodes. I think it's the first time we see Director Krennic. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Director Krennic.
And they're discussing what the solution can be for Gorman. And casually, one of the Imperial officers goes, what about a plague? And one of the scientists goes, we tried a plague. It gets too unpredictable towards the end. I was like,
oh, yeah, that's a great line.
That's a great line. That's intense.
That's intense, big time. It gets too out of hand. Oh, that's crazy.
That was cool.
Yeah. And everybody just casually just moves on.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Those little things definitely, I think, are what make this show really good.
Yeah.
It's the small moments.
So, the guy that we follow on TikTok, he said that Andor's the best live-action Star Wars project of all time, including the movies. Do you feel similar?
Including the movies?
Including Empire, because I asked Empire and New Hope. He responded, said yes.
No, I don't agree.
I don't think so. Can it be? Do you think it could be? Let's say I don't think so. Because, and I'm going to say this.
Take your rose-colored glasses off, though.
I am. Cool. I think, but here's the thing. It doesn't have the thematic heart of Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
So, therefore, it can't be. Because Star Wars is, is the whimsy and is the fun space adventure. at the heart of it.
Yes. Do you think
that's not all it is, because you can mess that up and it can be too much.
Yeah.
But Andor doesn't have that. And I think Andor is fantastic, but it doesn't have that. So I don't want to say, that puts it in a Andor's Nolan Batman.
Mm-hmm. It's probably not going to ever be the best representation of Star Wars.
Right.
But it may, by the end of it, be the best written Star Wars.
Sure. I like that.
That's what I would say. I don't think it would ever touch the original trilogy as far as...
At least the first 2 movies. You don't think it's better than Return?
I'm not ready to say it's better than the trilogy. No.
Return, though, of the Jedi.
That's what I'm saying. I'm including that one. Yeah, I think by the end of it, I may be comfortable to say it's better than that.
Yeah.
I don't think A New Hope and Empire. Yeah, I don't think it will ever touch the movies as far as feeling the most like Star Wars, but it could be the best written, I think, yeah.
I like that.
They have some of the best like scenes and dialogue.
I like that point.
In Star Wars, but I don't think it will ever capture what Star Wars really is because it's too gritty. It's too grounded. It really does feel like you have Star Wars movies and pretty much every other project in this grand overall spectacle, and Andor is just this subplot that you're kind of just sitting with.
Yeah. That
deal with the overall rebellion and empire and all of this,
Very
but
cool.
it's just you're just sitting in this kind of like subplot
Right.
here, and it feels almost like it's in its own corner of the galaxy.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head that because it isn't, you can't really call it the best representation of Star Wars. It can never be the best Star Wars product of all time.
Yes.
So it's funny to me that he even distinguished live action. Because is there a world, like, do you think the animated's better than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you're saying it's better than the original, Empire New Hope, are you not saying it's the best Star Wars of all time at that point? I don't know.
I wonder if, like, people who would think that, maybe they're just, what they're trying to express is, well, either one, this is my favorite Star Wars, or I think this is the most, the best executed Star Wars show as compositionally, it has all the elements, the writing, the dialogue, the action, the cinematography, like it's the best we've ever gotten as far as that's concerned. So maybe that's what he means by that. I mean, I can't say it's the best Star Wars project ever though. And I don't think there's always a world where we could beat the original trilogy, but I don't think Andor can beat that.
No. If Andor was super... had like the whimsy and the fun space adventure element, maybe, but it just doesn't. So,
because wouldn't you say then Star Wars Rogue One is the best?
Yeah,
because it has all the writing,
it's Tony Gilroy
writing, the dialogue, the grit that you want, but the whimsy and spectacle of Star Wars. So is Rogue One the best project ever then?
Yeah,
because it has the best of both worlds. I would say. I don't know. I can't agree with that.
Well, Rogue One does have the best shot in Star Wars.
What is that?
I already told you.
Best shot across the board?
It's one of them.
One of them?
One of the best shots in Star Wars, man. When the destroyer in space is and you're getting the shots from the front and it's just flying through space and then the sun hits the Death Star behind it.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
You just rewatched Rogue One.
Yeah, I think that's a great shot. I think it's fantastic.
How do you rewatching Rogue One recently? How did you feel coming out of it?
I really like it. I think it's great.
Yeah,
I liked it in theaters. I really liked on rewatch. I think they introduced the right characters and it's funny. It's got
K2SO.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
It's fantastic. Yeah, Alan Tudyk. I think it's how you say his last name. He's so fun.
I'm taking them to prison. And then he hits Cassie to the face. So funny.
Oh, it's great.
It is paced a little weird. I would give, but it's paced no different than Andor. You get to one section of Rogue One's the same thing as Andor. Pacing wise, it's three segmented,
very isolated things, a moment in Star Wars.
But it's three segmented events that happen in Rogue One.
Yeah.
It's the Jin, they go to see Saul Guerrera.
Yep.
Then they go and they decide they need to go and get Jin's father. And then it's the getting the plans off the planet. Like, that's how Andor's paced.
Yeah.
That's exactly how season 1 of Andor's paced out.
Yeah.
It's super similar. So
yeah,
like,
similar.
so I haven't heard a lot of people say they haven't liked Rogue One, but the pacing in Rogue One is the same thing as Andor.
Yeah, I would say so. It's great though.
Yeah, but it's got the whimsy, it's got the fun, and it's got the space adventure elements to it while having the... Gosh, some of the shots in that movie are just so good. That just feels like Star Wars in the certain shots, and so I like Rogue One a lot. It might, outside of those, I'm having to really think. Maybe I put it that high. I don't know. No, I think it's good. But Andor, I'm excited. I will say this. Andor has got me consistently excited for its episodes.
That's good. Yeah, me too.
I am consistently excited for those next 3 episodes to drop.
Yeah.
So I can watch them. Which is something I haven't felt in a show for a minute. So that's cool.
Yeah. Not Daredevil Born Again.
I was excited. I was really... Well, I guess Disney Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying.
But I really like season 2.
Yeah. I'm liking where it's going. There's just so many good moments. And the dialogue that I love just sitting in this world, I think. And it's just so fun to watch. I just feel like I'm experiencing it for like 3 hours. I will say, I do like that each of these episodes are an hour long.
Yeah.
I really like that we're getting lengthy content from this, not just 30 minutes.
And I like that. I love that it's confirmed last season.
Yeah.
That helps out a lot. That makes me feel like, okay, they're going to go all out and they're going to...
Yeah.
They're not going to leave something on the table that maybe I'll get a season 2 Acolyte or season 3 like Acolyte.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's going to be so fun, I think, to rewatch through Star Wars. I mean, it's always hard to interject like a really long show in your watch through the movies, but like if you watch Andor and then watch Rogue One, it's going to be a good, I think, overall experience for those characters, just their arc, specifically Cassian and things like that. So. Yeah, I'm excited to see where it continues to go. I don't know. I mean, do you think it's... I mean, you probably already think it's better than season 1.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say yet on that, to be honest.
I just like all the characters so much more.
Yeah, but I would say, like, they build a lot in season 1 to make these moments matter more in season 2. But we'll see.
You could be right.
Maybe we'll talk more about that by the end of it.
When I watched Andor season 1, I watched the first 6 episodes and then stopped.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, once he went to prison, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And 6 episodes into this season, you care and you're excited to keep watching. Yeah. So yeah, it's different. Yeah.
For me,
I like it.
But yeah.
Sweet. And so we're caught up now. Finally.
Yeah, we are caught up. We did watch the first 3 episodes of Tales with Asajj Ventress.
Tales of the Underworld.
The newest
Clone Wars spinoff. I guess you want to call it that, essentially. Or just the newest animated project. It was fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I think episode 1 was awesome.
Episode 1 was sick.
And then
it meanders and
puttered out and doesn't really go anywhere that interesting.
Doesn't go anywhere. They don't do anything.
They set up so many cool things.
Yeah.
They also oh man, I didn't even think about this till right now, but...
Do you think sorry to interrupt you, but
You're good.
Do you think the first 5 minutes is the best part of all of it?
Yes.
I do.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think the first 5 minutes of episode 1 of Tales is the best part of her entire arc. We haven't seen the Cad Bane stuff.
Yes.
So we're just talking about the Ventress,
just the first 3
Ventress arc.
Yeah.
But I think it's the best part of the Ventress stuff.
Yeah, it's what I was going to say was it's interesting because in that first episode you get introduced to, well, I guess spoilers if you haven't seen this. Go watch it, come back. You get introduced to like the Inquisitor and he quickly dies. And then there's no like I thought they were going to set that up and do something a little more interesting with it, but he doesn't. Or they don't really, and I was like, oh, okay. So I feel like all the cool stuff that I wanted to see was in episode 1, and then the rest of it was just kind of like, fine. You know what I mean? I don't think like Asajj Ventress and what was the boy's name? I can't remember. Like, I don't think their chemistry was enough for me to really love the next 2 episodes.
No. They did something really cool. So, we believe Tales of the Underworld ties into Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
They talk about this path, the path of the Jedi that Quinlan Vos is a part of, and there's something very similar that they do with Jedi Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So...
They set it up.
Whether it's connected, we have no idea. They literally just talk about it.
Yeah.
And they don't
go anywhere with it.
They don't do anything with it.
I really thought they were going to go see like Quinlan Vos and do something with that.
It is 100% like set up like there's supposed to be more of this story.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't.
Maybe there is.
How?
Maybe they'll
do a season 2 or they're going to do...
They could.
Well, no, they're not doing anything with the path. They don't go on the path.
Unless they do in season 2 specifically. They don't go anywhere terrible. With that, but they set it up like it's a big plot point.
Yeah, that's terrible if they both decide not to go, then decide to go. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know why they set it up so hard in episode 1.
Yeah.
For... like talking about the path. I mean, Quinlan Vos clearly has a connection with Asajj. Like all these key elements to give them reason to go, but they don't do it. So I don't know why they
should Tales of the Underworld Asajj Ventress' arc just have been adapted version of the Disciple, Dark Disciple?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think that'd be sick.
I think that would have been better.
I think it'd be sick because this is animated beautifully.
Yeah.
It looks
really good.
Incredible. Specifically like episode 1, all the lightsaber fights look really good. The character designs are very Clone Wars, but they just look a little cleaner, a little sharper. So I would have loved to have seen that animated. I think that'd be sick. Yeah, I was kind of surprised they didn't do anything more interesting with that character. I thought they really were going to, because it felt like they were setting it up for that, but they didn't. It was fine. I'm excited to see where Cad Bane's. I think he's a cool character. I'd like to see some underworld like crime stuff. So we'll see. I just know it's animated incredibly well.
It does look really good, animated wise. All right,
it's out there.
Yeah, go watch it.
Yeah, I would definitely watch it if you enjoy some of the Clone Wars stuff.
It's a very low commitment.
Yeah. What is it? 40
minutes.
40 minutes probably. They're like 15-minute episodes. Yeah. So. Very low commitment, yeah.
All right, you want to do some Q and takes?
Yeah, let's do some Q and takes. I got some Star Wars questions for you. Do you have some too for me?
Yep.
Sweet.
I got 5.
You got 5? I got 5? All right. Let's go back and forth. Okay. All right. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
All right, I got one. In honor of the new show we have coming down the pipeline for Star Wars, is Darth Maul underrated or overrated?
Do you think, can we do had a properly rated in there?
Absolutely.
I think he's properly rated. I think he's properly rated.
I think so?
I don't think he's underrated. I think he's got plenty of awesome. You think he might be overrated?
No.
Okay. So I don't think he's definitely not underrated. I think he's got a lot of love, especially everything they give him in Clone Wars.
Do you think they gave him enough in Clone Wars, knowing what George had planned? Yeah. We've been talking about that. You think they still gave him enough in Clone Wars?
Between Clone Wars and Rebels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they give him a lot.
Yeah. And then Solo?
Don't get me wrong. That's true. Yeah. Well, but Solo's, that's a cameo, essentially. You know what I mean?
But it just pads it out.
Yes. Yeah.
So...
Yeah,
that's enough.
Stuff
in my opinion, that was enough to know what Maul did. Like, obviously, we get to. I want to see more, but like,
we will.
I felt like if they didn't want to touch him ever again,
he's had enough.
I think he's had enough time to shine.
I'm glad they're touching him again.
Yeah,
I hate that wording. I'm glad they're doing that again, but because I think they're gonna do some really cool stuff with it. But all right, hit me.
All right, what's your favorite Clone Wars arc aside from Siege of Mandalore? I think we both agree Siege of Mandalore is a top 5 Star Wars project of all time. So outside of the Siege of Mandalore, what is your favorite Clone Wars arc? So this could be a multiple episode arc or it could be one episode. Now you are totally welcome to give a few. a top.
I kind of want to give a few. So
give a top 3.
The one that comes to my head is I love the Death Watch arc.
Yep.
But I almost don't want to put it just because it's more Mandalorian stuff. But I love the Death Watch arc. I think that's really interesting.
It's the first time we see the Darksaber.
Darksaber, yeah. What is it? Pre Vizsla?
Yeah.
Yeah. All that stuff is really interesting. I think I just love the Mandalorian lore. I think it's all just cool.
It sets up a ton going forward.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it plays a huge part in later seasons.
Yeah.
So,
I really like that one. I think probably my favorite stuff, I guess in line with Maul, is the like Night Sisters arc with Maul, Mother Talzin. We see Savage Opress. I love all that stuff on Dathomir. Yeah. I think it's really interesting. I specifically went because of that arc. Mm-hmm. I'll have to bring it. I have it. I have a Sith holocron that opens up and the Book of Sith comes out.
Yeah.
And I bought it specifically because when I was looking at it, there's like scribblings from Mother Talzin, like in that Book of the Sith. And I just thought it was really interesting to kind of dive into some of the more like mystical side of the Sith stuff. I just thought that was interesting. And I love Darth Maul, so seeing where he comes from and how all that plays into it. And I thought Savage Opress was a really cool character, especially when I was a kid. I was like, this is sick. It's like just a brute version of Darth Maul. This is awesome. So
that's cool.
That's probably my favorite. The other one that really sticks out to me is, I can't remember. You remember the episode early on in season 1, Rookies?
Yeah.
I love that episode specifically.
That's a great one.
And then their arc continues throughout the show.
Well, they're the 501st.
The 501st, yes. You get the ARC Troopers episode, which is so good on Camino, and like all of their stuff throughout the overall show. It's not just like a couple episodes. It's multiple throughout the show. I love that stuff. Echo and Five. Yeah. All that stuff
Rex
is
and Cody
so
are in
good.
that one.
Yeah. So I love that arc throughout the show.
That's a great pick.
Rookies is just such a great
one.
episode.
I love that.
So their stuff is really cool.
That's awesome. I think it's 2 episodes. Is it 3? I think it's 2.
2 episodes.
It might be 1
across the overall show.
No,
or just around Rookies.
Just around Rookies. It might
Rookies is just 1 episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rookies is just 1 episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is good because it builds that camaraderie with all of them. Then you care about like Echo as stuff's happening and like the
when
brain
Echo
stuff.
dies later on.
Like
or Fives. That's Fives. Yeah.
So it just makes you care about those characters so much, and I love it. Yeah, that's probably another one that I always point
to. Yeah. So for me, number 1, I think is an easy one, but you didn't mention it, so I'm going to mention it. Mortis, the Mortis arc.
Oh, Mortis is
great.
Anakin's
freaking awesome.
Yeah.
On our clip, I said, what was it? I said Anakin's more powerful than all the other Jedi Masters.
Yeah.
In that moment when there's take a seat, young Skywalker moment. None of those other Jedi Masters are controlling the son and daughter.
Yes.
So the people who are like Anakin's not stronger. Yoda's not going to do that.
No.
And Mace Windu's not going to do that.
Yeah.
And so who are your contenders at that point?
Well, and it's all clearly
and Obi-Wan's not going to do that.
No.
Obi-Wan couldn't get out of the one of the son's grip.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There's clear. And it's also just heavily implied in Revenge of the Sith that like everybody knows that he's going to become or already is more powerful than them.
So him doing more Chosen One stuff is always cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Adds a lot. It's also going to play a lot into
Ahsoka. Yeah.
So that's cool. The next one I have is the box arc. I call it the box arc, but it's the arc where Obi-Wan fakes his death, and then they genetically like alter his face, and he goes like into a spy espionage and has to like earn the trust of Cad Bane.
Yeah.
And he's like imposing as a bounty hunter. Anakin's like hunting him because he thinks that guy killed Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that's right.
And it culminates to the box episode where their Count Dooku's created this elaborate trap, and the bounty hunters have to survive all of it.
Oh, that's right.
And they have to and then those people who survive the box are the people who are on the team that are gonna kidnap the Chancellor the first time. Very cool. And you have a really cool Anakin Obi-Wan looking like the bounty hunter fight against Count Dooku. I loved that arc so much.
Man, that's a good pick.
I
forgot
really
about that.
like that one. That one's one I just don't hear a lot about, but I love that one.
Yeah.
Prong Krell is another one. Prong Krell is another one. That's the Jedi Master with the four arms with the four double-sided lightsabers. And Captain Rex has a huge moment to shine in that one. And then my favorite single episode arc is Hidden Enemy. And that's the one where it's Rex and Cody, and they figure out that one of the clone troopers is a traitor.
Yes.
And they're transmitting like stuff from inside the base. Mm-hmm. And I like that whole thing. That's a good one. Then you have the Adventurous Obi-Wan Anakin fight in that as well, but I really like the Hidden Enemy arc.
Yeah, that's a good
Clone Deserter with Rex.
Yes, great one.
Another one.
Yeah. All right. That's fun. All right. If you could be an apprentice to one Jedi or Sith, what would it be?
Qui-Gon Jinn.
I knew you were going to say that.
Qui-Gon Jinn's awesome.
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn's awesome. What do you think would have happened if Anakin actually became Qui-Gon Jinn's Padawan and not Obi-Wan's?
So, Star Wars Theory, shout him out. He made a video on this that I watched when I was 14 years old. So I will lean on him and say, I think what he said.
He's pretty much thought of all the different theories. I think
I'm not going to say anything different than this, than Naya said. I think what he said is ultimately beautiful, and that is Anakin needed a father, and Obi-Wan could have only been, a brother.
Oh.
And so Qui-Gon would have been the person he needed. Yeah. And he would, because of his outstanding relationship with the Jedi Council, he would have actually listened to Anakin. Yeah. And had Anakin actually come to him, he would have actually listened, instead of it being kind of this carbon, we're just going to follow. We're obeying laws, not the principles. So Qui-Gon Jinn goes by the principles of the Jedi, whereas the rest of the Jedi just follow the laws. And so Qui-Gon would have been the Jedi Master that ultimately would have ushered Anakin into being the chosen one. And I do believe that. Ultimately, he is the chosen one, and it happens for a reason. But Qui-Gon Jinn would have been the master he would have needed. He would have been the father figure that Anakin needed. So
that's so sick.
Yeah. So go watch Star Wars Theory video, and he breaks it down a lot better than I do. A lot
of stuff, yeah.
So what is your favorite lightsaber fight outside of Mustafar? Animated, movies, whatever you want to say.
Man, that's so tricky. I mean, I really like the Obi-Wan Grievous fight, but I don't think we got enough for me to say it's my favorite.
What about some of the Grievous fights from Clone Wars?
There's some good ones in that. I have a hard time pinpointing right now a specific fight in Clone Wars. There's some good moments, the one I'm thinking of is Ahsoka Maul. That's fantastic. That's the only one I'm kind of thinking of right now.
Duel of the Fates?
So
Obi-Wan and
I'm talking just the Clone Wars at the moment.
Okay.
The only one I can think of Clone Wars wise is Ahsoka Maul towards the end. I think my favorite probably is Duel of the Fates.
Okay.
I think that's why I said Obi-Wan and Grievous is really cool for the dynamic of Grievous being in the fight, but there's not enough there. I love Duel of the Fates. I mean, Qui-Gon Jinn, patience, all of that is just so great. It says so much about Qui-Gon Jinn's character, about Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's itching to get in there. Qui-Gon just sits down. It's just such a great fight. So I'd probably have to say Duel of the Fates.
Yeah, the score, Duel of the Fates, adds an extra element to that entire sequence, because they're literally almost in a way battling for Anakin Skywalker's fate.
Oh, absolutely. Cool. Yeah.
I like that.
Maul pacing back and forth. It's just each of those characters do something very different in that fight that serves who they are. And I think Clone Wars actually even just enhances that, because Maul pacing, just being very stoic, just plays so well into what Clone Wars does. Obi-Wan itching to fight, Qui-Gon being patient. It's just, you see each of them in their own right in that moment, and I think it's just such a great fight. It's more than just the fighting, and that's why I think it's really good.
Yeah. Obi-Wan coming in hot after Qui-Gon gets killed. That's so cool.
That's so great. Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Well, one I'm going to mention
please do.
For you is I would go in terms of, man, the Ahsoka Vader fight in Rebels, I think it might not look as good.
I think it's more for emotion.
But the emotion behind it is
yeah,
one of the more emotional lightsaber fights.
Great one.
So
yeah, because you're in that moment, I'm not excited because of the fight. I'm excited because they're together.
And she slashes his helmet, and it's Matt Lanter's Anakin coming through. It's good.
That's so good.
What's your favorite lightsaber design?
Ooh, Maul.
Really?
Double blade to me is the sickest thing. I just anytime I see a double blade being used, I'm like, that's so the fighting style of using it, I think is so cool. So I'd probably say Maul.
I really like Prong Krell for that because of his fold in half.
Yeah.
And he's got those huge hands, you know, so.
Yeah.
So I like
what they say about big hands.
Yeah, big feet. I really like, even though I don't own it and I should, I really like Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber.
Yeah.
It's just so unique.
Yeah.
There's not another lightsaber like his.
Because Qui-Gon's is more gold, right?
No, it's like the black.
Oh, it's the black. Yeah. I'm thinking something different. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of lightsabers that like whereas like this is like obviously made up of a bunch of different pieces, and like so with that one, right? It's like this. Okay, this. Qui-Gon Jinn's is so uniform.
Yeah.
And it feels just like I want to know how that thing was made.
Yeah.
Because of
very sleek.
Right. The chassis and the buttons, and it's very sleek, and I need to get it. Because it is my favorite. So
yeah, that is a cool one. I think the double saber thing with Maul is just when I was a kid, it blew my mind.
Also, Kylo Ren's lightsaber is
I will
awesome.
Say, out of the sequels, that is one of the coolest new additions to
the crossguard.
Yeah, the chaotic crystal, things like that. I think is interesting.
Oh my gosh, I would have loved the sequels had they done this with their lightsaber fights, because when Kylo Ren using the crossguard lightsaber, it's supposed to feel heavy. It's supposed to feel like the hit.
It's a great sword.
It's heavy and it's a great sword. So that's how his fighting style is in the sequels. I love that.
Yeah.
But they should have not done the same freaking thing with Rey. Like Rey should have fought quick and agile with hers, because that's how we've seen that done. But then take the crossguard and leaned into that heavy hitting, big impact, great sword type fighting style. Mm-hmm. I would have loved that, but they don't do that.
Yeah.
Then they're just like, well, they're both heavy.
It's like, okay.
I don't freaking give a crap about lighting.
Yeah.
I don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't care. I would rather see cool lightsaber fights than lighting. So go back to how the prequels did it.
Yeah.
I would rather see that than see cool lighting in my set, personally.
Mm. I do think the lighting was cool, but
the lighting.
I know what you're saying.
Use the lighting when you can, but in the fight, stop. Mm-hmm. Let's just stop doing it because everyone's complaining about the lightsaber fights. Yeah. They do suck. Like they do. They're other than the Acolyte one, which they had to redesign. Everything. Just do it the way they used to do it.
Yeah.
Please. Just for the fights, and then if you want to have some cool lighting stuff, then switch them out.
Yeah.
I would be unaffected. Mm-hmm. All right.
I got one for you. Boba Fett or Din Djarin?
At what stage?
Just overall. Which one would you pick? This is not a specific moment. Just with what we now have in Star Wars. Boba Fett or Din Djarin?
Man, Din Djarin.
You think so?
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen... I think the Boba Fett show just hurts Boba Fett so much.
To be honest with you, I don't think the Boba Fett show hurts Boba Fett as a character. I think it just kind of leaves him where... Like, it doesn't change it.
Yeah.
To me. I don't think it makes him worse or better.
But that's a problem, because the only Boba Fett thing you have is he gets killed on accident.
Yeah.
In Return of the Jedi.
So it was the opportunity for them to really sink into his character. I mean, he's good in the Mandalorian stuff.
I really like him in Clone Wars. Boba Fett in Clone Wars is awesome.
It's really cool, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's sick.
We have more with Din Djarin now. I think Boba Fett is more iconic still.
Sure.
But I think we have more emotional attachment to Din Djarin. So I would pick Din. I just think Din is... Well, Din's just more relatable, and we just have more. It's not necessarily a fair...
No, I don't think it's fair.
To honestly, pit them, but they're both Mandalorians. Like
Din having Grogu makes me like him a little less. Like, it makes me like Boba Fett a little bit more. Because it's just... if you're thinking about, like... I don't like that Din and Grogu are back together. I would rather Grogu go train with Luke.
So, let me ask you this. We're getting a Mandalorian Grogu movie. What's your excitement level?
Well, I mean, I've accepted it, but I don't like... I feel like it totally negates the second season.
Yeah. All the...
And they changed it in another show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
I just don't like that.
I will say, when watching through that, I do remember being like, this feels like we just have to fix... It feels like we know Din and Grogu are what people want to see, so we have to fix that.
Yeah.
So we're just going to fix it.
I was down. I was like, this is cool. We're going to do Mandalore and Din and Bo-Katan and and Boba Fett. Had they all been big parts of Mandalorian Season 3, it would have been totally fine. Mm-hmm. And then brought Grogu back for the Heir to the Empire arc that they want to do with Luke. And if Grogu was Luke's Padawan, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
But they did not do that.
Are you ready to see Grogu, like, not be a baby anymore?
Yeah, we'll never see that, though.
Yeah.
He's 50 years old right now.
Yeah, that's true.
He'll never not be that.
Yeah. I definitely have gotten to a point where
this is just like toy sales at this point.
Yeah. I've gotten to a point where I'm like, it's almost becoming hard to believe, like, him going to train with Luke and still being the way he is. I was like, this is getting kind of hard to believe that unless we see the progression of him getting older and getting, like, the skills that he needs, unless he can communicate or do something, it's just getting hard to believe.
Yeah. Also, am I the only one on the planet that thinks about stuff like, how did Luke get Yoda's lightsaber?
Well, he visits him, so I guess
but Yoda loses his lightsaber in the fight with Sidious. Unless off screen he went and got it.
Oh.
But in they did Invader comics.
That's right. Yeah.
They Sidious held up Yoda's lightsaber as I killed Yoda.
I killed Yoda. Yeah.
So I'm like just someone just personally. I guess I would like to know where that lightsaber came from. I would like to know how he got it, and if they want to change it and be like,
after he killed the Emperor,
or
he somehow got it.
The Emperor kept it. Oh, that'd be crazy.
Mm-hmm. Once they killed the Emperor, he
like a trophy.
Found it. Yeah,
that'd be sick.
He found like a collection or something.
That'd be wild.
That would be crazy.
He had like maces and Kit Fistos and like crazy.
Holy cow, that'd be sick. And then
he had all of those.
Yeah.
Oh, and then his new Jedi, like generation of Jedi, used mace with his lightsaber and got this new life.
Oh, that's so cool.
But we'll never see it.
This is the saber of a well-known Jedi master, Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Favorite Star Wars ship design?
Is it cheating to say the Millennium Falcon?
No, that's fine. I like that.
I just think the Millennium Falcon's so cool because it's so unique to everything else. Like, because we get a lot of fighters, you get a lot of cargo ships, you get a lot of destroyers. The design, just that like half circle design is just so unique in Star Wars that it always stands out to me. I'm always like, this is so sick. And especially when they're like going into light speed, just the back of it having just kind of the entire back being like the engine, and you seeing it, I'm like, that's just a cool design. I think the Millennium Falcon is pretty sick.
Sweet.
Vader's ship is cool too.
Yeah.
The iteration of the TIE Fighter I think is sick. I'm trying to think of some newer ones too.
I really like the Razor Crest, man, the first ship.
Yeah, that's
really a cool one. I really, really like, and I had the Hasbro toy version of it. I really like Anakin's Jedi Fighter.
Oh, I love it.
Episode 3 ship.
Yeah, that is cool.
With the trap.
Yeah. I always thought too, I love the clone gunships. I think it's so cool with the doors opening on the side. They've got like the little turrets on. I always thought that was so sick. I thought that was just such a unique design for like a troop.
eBay has a bunch of like the old Hasbro ships.
I used to have them. I probably still have them. They're probably at my parents' house. I had a gunship. I had a X-wing. What else did I have? I had another one. But yeah, I had the gunship, doors open, everything. I should still have. I think I have all those toys still. Probably worth something now. All right. Well, we kind of already talked a little bit about this, but what is the best Star Wars project outside of the movies from Disney?
Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah, I thought you might say that. Because I was like, I don't think there's going to be anything else.
The one behind it is Andor.
Yeah.
But Siege of Mandalore, I think.
You don't think Rogue One's better than Andor?
No. I think it's a better representation of Star Wars. Like I like this point that we're on, this take. I think Rogue One is a better representation of what Star Wars is. You get the whimsies, fun space adventure elements of it. You get the grander mystical thematic heart of Star Wars within Rogue One, but you also get the serious grounded elements that you would like in Andor. I like that Andor leans in. Like it's just it does annoy me. I think Andor season 1 is like meanders and is slow in parts, and I understand they do that for character development, so I can accept it and be okay with it.
Yeah.
But people totally asked for different takes on Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like I think people would want a horror Star Wars movie where like some clones come onto a ship and there's like some weird alien
getting picked apart.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Like I think those are things that you can tackle. Like Acolyte should have been dark.
Oh yeah.
And
it was not what I originally thought.
A Sith show should be very dark.
Yeah.
Very dark.
Like
very
you're channeling
gruesome.
your darkest emotions and going into a dark place.
It should feel evil and not this mix of like, what is the dark side and the light side? The point there,
not for the Acolyte.
The point there is not to be like, well, you have to have the dark side in balance, so dark side is good in a way. That's not the point. The point is you cannot have light without the dark.
Yeah.
You can't have good without evil. If it's all good, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the point. I don't like I remember a lot of the cast was talking about like, you know, it's not just black and white. I'm like, well, it's called the light side and the dark side.
There's clear sides.
It's very clear.
Very distinct, yeah.
Yep. So
the middle ground is an interesting topic, but
yeah,
it's very clear in Star Wars how that works.
Is Asajj Ventress the first Grey Jedi we've seen? You think there might be an argument for it?
Ahsoka.
No.
She is kind of a Grey Jedi.
She
but
does not embrace elements of the dark
Jedi.
side that a Ventress would.
Yes.
Did I say a Ventress the first time?
No, I think you said Ventress.
Asajj Ventress.
Asajj Ventress, yeah. Say it again.
Is Asajj Ventress the first Grey Jedi? I think so.
You might be right.
I think
because
maybe
of the dark side. That's a good point.
Because she's not just a full-blown dark side user like Maul. Like Maul is very much still a dark side user.
Yes.
But Asajj
he's an outcast, but he's 100%
is
dark
definitely
side.
more so in the middle than anybody.
Yeah.
Quinlan Vos would be another. I think he's someone in that conversation as well.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, we thought about that when we're watching the
That's
Underworld.
interesting, yeah.
All right. Was that your last question?
No, that was 4.
Okay. Did I go first?
I think I went for it.
I asked you ship design?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. One day we get a true to form Star Wars RPG Red Dead Redemption 2 style video game. You get to pick between these 4 player archetypes: bounty hunter, smuggler, rebel, or empire. Like you could be a stormtrooper, soldier, whatever. And that's how you go about your Star Wars world.
Give me the 4 one more time.
Bounty hunter, smuggler, rebel, and empire, or Empyrean, or empire soldier.
Bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter.
I would go bounty hunter because.
You think I'm missing one in there? I'm not putting Jedi in there.
Yeah, I know what you're. Yeah, No, bounty hunter makes sense. Soldier makes sense.
You just
Smuggler
have to,
too.
You
Yeah.
have to come up with some reason your character, like Imperial character, could
change,
kind of do what he wants.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So whether it's like you're tracking or some sort of Imperial. Let's do Imperial. So let's do bounty hunter, smuggler, rebel fighter, or Imperial spy.
Yeah,
I think those are
because rebels can kind of go where they need to, but an Imperial spy would be doing his own thing on his planets and reporting, so you could have a little more flexibility.
Imperial spy would be sick.
Imperial spy would be really cool. I'd probably still go bounty hunter because I could choose to still help either side.
Yeah.
Depending on kind of where I want to take the character. And you could still do some other like interesting stuff.
Yeah. I think this would just be a question of what is your like origin affiliation.
Yeah.
But you could do bounty hunter stuff if you were a rebel if you wanted to, and you could. But
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I think it's a cool story. I would probably still pick bounty hunter. I think it'd be a cool story. You grow up on a backwater planet, you become a bounty hunter, and then you get carried. You get kind of caught in this overall story of the rebellion and the empire, and then you're choosing a side.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying?
You could totally help the empire, and you could totally help the rebellion when you
Din
wanted
does
to.
it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Or Jin, like so.
Din.
It's Din, yeah. Din Djarin. That's so like he does it in a way.
That's cool.
So I like the idea of that. Boba Fett does it, right? I mean, Vader hires them, so there's a way to get kind of engaged in the overall story and still be a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be cool because I want to make a cool bounty hunter suit, and I would wear a helmet. Absolutely.
I think a smuggler working for a crime lord could be fun, and all of them. I think Imperial spy would be sick.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be dope.
It'd be cool
because then you could be on the rebel missions, and like, or and like you would be a bounty hunter for hire. You could just be a rebel.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be neat.
That would be pretty neat.
Yeah.
All right, that was your last question.
Mm-hmm.
This is my last one. You ready? Best Star Wars sound effect. I have a clear lock.
So the sound wave in episode 2 Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna pick. The bomb going off.
Yeah.
Wow.
That one's crazy.
So good.
The red lightsaber ignition.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
Mm-hmm. That is a good one.
And the crackle from
lightning.
No, the crackle from Kylo Ren's lightsaber is very satisfying.
That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, I always think about the Jango Fett's.
Yeah.
What is it called? I remember you use them in the Battlefront. Like, is it proximity bombs or something like that? I always think about that. I think it's something. No, charge. Something charge.
Depth
charge. Yeah, the depth charge.
Seismic charge.
Seismic charge. Wow. That's such a good one.
The seismic
That's
charge.
so satisfying. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. No. So great.
That was cool to see that in Mandalorian again.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. That was so satisfying.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, happy May the 4th.
Happy May the 4th. Little Star Wars fun.
Yeah.
I just like talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, it's cool. We do be going viral talking about Star Wars.
We do be going viral, yeah.